Alright, y'all, this is the Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 10, episode 11, and I must say, after watching this episode, I'm annoyed. But let's talk about what we got to talk about first before we get to what we really want to talk about. So it starts off at Portia's house. She has this plant-based chef there because she's been vegan for the past 2 months. And she also invites Kim because apparently Kim is vegan as well. So, Portia is telling Kim about the whole Houston trip and everything, and how Kenya flipped out on Shamia and flipped out on everybody because Shamia was trying to, tell Kenya how she felt about the way Kenya was, acting towards her and everything, and how she was dismissing, Shamia's feelings, and how, Kenya made this whole scene and got in her car, and, how Cynthia chased after her, and, they was shading Cynthia because she chased after her or whatever. And then Kim is like, well, she spends a lot of time pretending like she's married and everything, that gotta be very exhausting or whatever. And I'm just like, Kim, why the fuck are you constantly hanging off of Kenya's clitoris? Why are you hanging off her clit so fucking hard? Like, Kenya don't even think about your motherfucking ass. Why are you so worried about whether she married or not and everything? And at this point, I do feel like Kenya is married. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, y'all know I don't fucking like Kim. But anyways, so, Kim is like, she ain't been getting none or whatever, this, that, and the third. And, Portia, she's like, no, well, she did, have sex with her ex-boyfriend in his truck and everything, this, that, and the third. And I still don't understand that whole thing, because it's like, I could see if this was like a Diamond Strawberry situation. You guys remember Diamond Strawberry off of Love and Hip Hop New York a few seasons back, when all she did was fuck Cisco in his car and wherever else, and she ain't never been to his house? That wasn't the situation with Kenya. Like, Kenya was really in a relationship with Matt. She met his family. He was at her house and everything, this, that, and the third. So, yeah, that's not the same thing. So I just still didn't understand why people was shading Kenya about that shit. But whatever. So then Kandi, she is with Lil Baby Ace. And they meet up with the Candy Coated Clique for her party for being on the cover of the S's magazine. And, they're running down the list of who's invited. And, they're asking if Portia is invited or whatever. And Don Juan is like, like, she ain't coming up here and everything. I ain't sent her no invite. And Kandi is like, go on and invite the child or whatever, so I could show her how the glow up really is and everything. And I'm just like, let me continue on before I say what I have to say about that. So, Don, he's like, he don't want to invite her or whatever, this, that, and the third. Kandi talks about Shamia's experience in Houston and how, Shamia, called Portia and everything to, help Portia out or whatever. And, Don is just shading the fuck out of Portia. And I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm fucking over it. He's shading the fuck out of her and saying how, this is like one of her little PR stunts or whatever, and how she trying to be like Olivia Pope and just all this other bullshit he was saying. And they asking Kandi, like, Don is asking Kandi, had they had a real conversation in regards to the fact that they're not going to be cool again or whatever, because, you inviting her here, she thinking y'all going to be on hugging terms and this, that, and the third. And I'm just so fucking over it. Like I told you guys before, I was rocking with Kandi when it came to this whole situation with her, Phaedra, and Portia or whatever. I completely understand, you can't tell somebody when to forgive somebody and everything, but, and I'm cool with all of that. But if you're not going to be cool with this girl, Kandi, stop being on this flip-flopping type of shit. You don't really have to invite her to try to stunt or nothing like that. Like, just do you. Why you gotta, be on this petty type of shit? If you're not going to be cool with the girl, don't be cool with the girl. We understand. Cause that shit that her and Phaedra pulled was some fuck shit, okay? But if you're not gonna be cool with the girl, just stop. Like, all this other shit is, like, and like I told you guys before, I understand, when like the other girls have events and Portia is there and she's there and she feels like, she kind of got to converse with her a little bit because, they work together on this show. And she just doesn't want things to be completely awkward between them two. But to sit up here and invite her to your own event, which I don't think you really have to do. I mean, unless Bravo is telling you to, then it's just, yeah, y'all. Yeah, I mean, y'all know what I'm saying. I'm over it. Like, if you're not gonna be cool with her, don't be cool with her. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I feel like I spent too much time talking about that shit. But anyways, we have Cynthia. She's on the phone with Mallory or whatever, and she's telling, her that she's inviting Will to, Lake Bailey for the first time. And she's, making sushi for him and everything. And, after her conversation or whatever, Will, he shows up or whatever. And, they start having a conversation about, whether they're dating other people or not and everything, this, that, and the third. And he says that he's about to be 42 and he doesn't want to be dating multiple women this late in the game. He just wants to have a family and settle down. And she's like, well, I am on this dating site. And, Will, he got his feelings a little bit. He's like, I don't like that or whatever. And, she's just saying, well, I mean, we're not really, exclusive yet and everything, this, that, and the third. Like, she didn't think it was going to be too much of an issue. But he's like, well, listen, well, she was also saying too that, why does she have to meet him right now? Because, she's supposed to be on her 50 Cent shit. She's supposed to be just, dating different people or whatever. She ain't supposed to really be trying to get serious with nobody right now. But, he tells her, well, get it out your system or whatever before we really go exclusive and everything. So then we have Nene, and she meets up with Eva Marcel. So we finally have Eva. And I'm going to get there. Because I was about to, but I'm going to get there. She meets up with Eva Marcel, and, I have always liked Eva, even when she was Eva Pigford, back when she was on America's Next Top Model, I knew that she was going to be the one to win. But anyway, so they meet up for lunch or whatever, and, she talks about her boo, and of course we've been hearing about him on the blogs and everything, him trying to run for mayor in Atlanta and all of that, and, she's met Nene through their glam teams or whatever. And Nene starts asking her about, does she know some of the girls and everything or whatever. And she knows, Kandi, of course, through the industry, and she knows Cynthia because they share business partners or whatever. And, Nene is like, well, because Eva was saying to her, I need some girlfriends or whatever since I'm going to be here in Atlanta now and everything. Ooh, excuse me. And so Nene is like, well, why don't you come to Kandis event with me or whatever? So, that's cool, whatever. So then we get to the meat and potatoes of the episode. We get Kandis event. Portia and Shamia, they show up together. They waiting on Kandi. Kandi running kind of late. And of course, when Portia and Shamia show up together, of course, Don Juan and Carmen, what's her name? Carmen, whatever. They ain't really, giving Portia no airtime or whatever. They ain't really, saying nothing to her. So Kandi finally shows up, and, then Kenya shows up, Cynthia and Will show up, and, Portia, she's just kind of in the background, just kind of noticing everybody, greeting one another, and she's there looking stupid. I don't know why you went, Portia. I don't know why you went. I wouldn't have went there, knowing that these people don't really like me for real, whatever. Like, but whatever. Like I said, maybe production probably, made them do all this. So whatever. So Shamia, she comes over to Portia and she encourages Portia to, come on and, be a part of the group and, speak to everybody and everything. So she hugs Kandi and Mama Joyce or whatever. And Portia still realizes that Kandi is still kind of upset with her because Kandi kind of gave her this half-ass hug and everything. And, she thanks Kandi for inviting her or whatever, this, that, and the third, and she's proud of her or whatever. And so Kandi's sitting up here saying that, she's not setting any boundaries for Portia. She's setting boundaries for herself. So, Portia knows which lines not to cross or whatever. And it's just like, once again, if you're not going to be cool with this child, just, be one way. Don't sit up here and be on this flip-flopping type of shit or whatever. But anyways, so, Cynthia and Kenya, they hug, so Kenya is in better spirits from the last time, compared to the last time that they saw each other in Houston. Will greets Kenya too. Nene and Eva, they're on their way. They're both in the back seat and they got Greg playing chauffeur or whatever, playing old Benson or whatever. So anyways, Eva is like, is anyone else going to be booed up and everything? Because, she's kind of sad because, of course, her boo isn't able to be there. And so Nene is running down the names. And then once she gets to Cynthia and Will, that's when Eva is like, I actually met Will. And I'm like, well, damn, she ain't say a last name, or you just automatically know which Will, Nene was talking about, but whatever. So Eva is like, I met him at a cigar bar, when me and Michael were together. And we were with his, well, I mean, y'all know what I mean by together. They met Will and his girl at a cigar bar or whatever. And Nene is like, huh? Like, girl, you mean like as in girlfriend? And, Eva is like, yeah, and, she was like, relationships do die, so maybe they broke up that night and everything. I don't know, but it didn't seem like this relationship was new or whatever. And, Eva is like, well, what's the timeline and everything? And Nene is like, well, they've been seeing each other, Will and Cynthia have been seeing each other for like 2 to 3 months now. And, they show, Will and Cynthia at the party and everything. And so they talk about, once again, talking about their situations or whatever. And Will is like, I've been single for 2.5 years now. Keep that in mind for, what we about to get into. So anyways, then Kim and Sheree show up around the same time that Eva and Nene shows up. Peter, he's there and everything. And Marlo, she shows up and she goes over to Cynthia and Will. And she's like, y'all two are so coordinated and everything, because they both had on black. And Marlo is like, child, I'm sitting up here being coordinated with Peter and everything because her and Peter had on the same color. And, Cynthia's like, wait a minute, Peter, my ex-husband Peter? And Marlo is like, yeah, girl, he here and everything. And, Cynthia just is saying how it's just weird that, he's there, because this is the first time she's had another guy around him and everything. And I'm just like, whatever. So then, Eva and Will, they hug, but it was like very brief and everything. Todd gets on the stage and makes this speech and is saying, I see Kim and Croy, and I even see Portia or whatever. But that just goes to show what type of woman Kandi is, and she may not get along with you at a certain point, but she not going to trip. And I was just like, this is the bullshit I'm talking about. Like, I'm just over it. And so, Kim is like, I knew Kandi longer than you. So, yeah, I'm not here for all that fuck shit that you talking about. Kandi, she gets on the stage and throws her little shade too or whatever. And then Don Juan, that's when he lets everybody know that she was booked for the part of Mama Morton in her show on Broadway or whatever. And we see Latasha, from Escape. She shows up to show Kandi some support or whatever. Peter, he left, right after, they gave their speeches and everything. Nene, she brings her concerns about Will to Kandi, Kenya, um Carmen, and who else was in the circle? Was it Marlo? It was Kandi, Kenya, Carmen, and I think it was Marlo. They all was talking and everything, and of course Eva was there too. So she's bringing her concerns to them about Will and everything, and Kandi is not surprised to hear all of this and everything because Kandi been kind of side eyeing him from the jump street, and Eva is like, and I guess Carmen chimed in and said that she heard some shit about Will too. And so, apparently, this whole situation with him and Cynthia happened. I mean, this whole situation, I guess, with the whole cigar bar or whatever, 4 days later, it come to find out, that he's dating Cynthia or whatever. Like, it got put into the blogs 4 days after she saw him at the cigar bar or whatever, that he was dating Cynthia and everything. So then, Kenya is like, well, I'm going to go say something to Cynthia and everything. And so she pulls Cynthia to the side. And Nene is like, well, I'm going to go too because, Kenya might get the information wrong. And since when is she the bone carrier or whatever, this, that, and the third. And the plan was to tell Cynthia and everything. But I guess when Nene was saying all this, I guess Nene was saying that she had plans on telling Cynthia, but not right then and there. And I think it is kind of messed up that they brought that shit to her attention right then and there when we all at Kandis event trying to have a good time or whatever. But Kandi didn't try to stop the shit either. And that shit pissed me the hell off. You feel what I'm saying? So as Kenya tries to go outside with Cynthia and pull her to the side, all the girls come outside minus Sheree, Kim, and Portia, and I think Shamia too. And I'm like, all y'all motherfuckers got to come outside to watch Kenya tell her about this information or whatever. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? So Kenya, she's like, listen, she's like, before all the girls, try to ambush you and everything, I just want to tell you what's going on. And she tells her, what Eva and Nene told the girls and everything. And so, and, she was also saying to Cynthia that, it was a photo with the girl that Nene said that you saw or whatever. And Cynthia's like, yeah, I saw the photo or whatever, this, that, and the third. And, I saw all of y'all together and everything. And Eva's like, well, listen, I only met him once or whatever. I didn't meet him before then. I didn't meet him afterwards. It was just this one time. And he wasn't campaigning with us or whatever, with her and, Michael. And, Cynthia, she's like, so why was he there and everything? And Eva is like, their friend owns, our friend owns a cigar bar or whatever. And so, and, she was also telling Cynthia how, the girl was close to his daughter and this, that, and the third. And Cynthia's like, I'm receiving this information or whatever. It's cool. And I assume that it's coming from a place of love or whatever. But I just still feel like, why are y'all telling her all of this shit right then and there? Why would y'all embarrass that girl like that right then and there? Y'all couldn't have wait to go out to lunch or something to tell her about this shit? Like, I didn't like this shit at all. And, Will comes outside and sees Cynthia's demeanor has kind of changed. So Kenya's like, listen, let me pull you to the side and tell you what's going on. And so Will says that it's not true. 7 months ago, he was single. And Kenya's like, well, she's saying it was 2 months ago. And so, see, Will, his stories is not adding up. So Cynthia and Will, they talk or whatever, and he calls Eva over. And Eva, she's like, well, this is messy. I'm like, well, you think? You the one who brought this information out here. You know what I'm saying? And so, he's like, well, you started it, He's like, you saying I got a girlfriend or whatever, and that's not true. And Eva is like, listen, when I met you, you had a girlfriend or whatever. And, he's like, well, can you tell me what's happening in my life, from the time that I met her or whatever, this, that, and the third. And Eva's like, I don't know, but you did put on Instagram that me and Michael, which isn't facts or whatever, because you only met us that one time and everything. So they going back and forth or whatever. So then that's when he says that he's no longer dating this woman. But you just said that you've been single for 7 months, and then before then you were saying that you were single for 2.5 years. So yeah, Will is fucking lying. He lying about some shit. And so Eva, she's getting irritated, and she was about to pull out the receipts on his ass. Like, she was about to pull out her phone or whatever, because she's like, see, that's what we not going to do or whatever. But he says, that the woman was never around his child and everything, and, he getting pissed off or whatever. And Nene is like, well, you shouldn't get pissed off with a woman or whatever, this, that, and the third. And I mean, it's like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he feeling like motherfuckers is lying on him, it don't matter who, woman, man, Martian or whatever. But in this case, I feel like Will is lying. So yeah, that's why he getting pissed off, not because motherfuckers is lying on him, okay, but because he the one doing the lying. But anyways, so he feels as though Eva should have spoken to him first or whatever, and then he would have known. And I'm like, speak to you for what? Speak to you for what? So you could make up some story or whatever? Like, child, please. So anyways, then he throws some shade talking about something. Well, I ain't voting for Michael now or whatever, this, that, and the third. And, Cynthia, she got her shoes off and everything. And I'm just like, girl, why you got your shoes off or whatever? And so, Portia, Sheree, and Kim, they finally come outside to find out what happened and everything. And, Cynthia is telling Portia about what happened or whatever. So now Portia got something to, Cynthia is saying, well, I ain't going to be sitting up here messing around with somebody who got a girlfriend. Like, I'm too old for that shit, so if you got any information on a motherfucker that I'm dating and he got a girlfriend, well, let me know. And so Portia's like, well, since you said that, I do have something, and it's to be continued or whatever. And I'm just like, it's just so irritating. Listen, I mean, Will does seem suspicious. I mean, whatever. But it's just like, if Cynthia wants to sit up here and date him, that's on her. If she gets hurt, that's on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand trying to be a friend and be concerned or whatever, but if she's saying that, this is who she wants to date or whatever, all of y'all sitting up here doing all this extracurricular, is just like, I just get out her business. Get out her fucking business. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if it turns out that, he on some fraud and shit or whatever, then that's on her. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all, they really irritated me with this shit. Like, they really irritated me with this shit. But like I said, I guess we gonna see what Portia has to say next week. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys come back, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, y'all.